if they ever come to adapt The Mandalorian into a video game, they will have to put in absolutely zero work because the entire plot is just the structure of a video game.
Yeah,
This
yeah, an
whole
MMO
first
fetch quest.
episode was like, yeah, it's like we've been given a big overarching quest that's going to occupy us for this season. You know, he's got to redeem himself, so he has to get to the waters of life beneath the mines of Mandalore in order to redeem himself. I don't know how he's going to prove that he went there. He could just get some water in a jug or something, but whatever. In order to do that, he has to go to a friend and get like
Just to take a
the
selfie there.
IS 11 back online, or is it IG 11? Sorry,
IG-11.
IG 11. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's self detonated in a pool of lava, so
No, it's
I don't know
fine.
how there's any
It's fine.
left. But it doesn't have a circuit board, so he has to go somewhere else to get the circuit board to repair the droid that he can then take with him to go to Mandalore to get underneath the mines and go into the waters of life. That's the plot of the episodes. It's
Ugh.
just a video game. This
There's
is
never been
storytelling.
It's never been plot in Mando. Because this is the thing. Like, I would really push that this is not a downgrade from seasons. I would say definitely not from season 2, but maybe I'll give season 1 that it was like literally a sliver better. But I'm not even feeling that generous, to be honest with you. We remember season 2, right? That's the season where they get chased by the stormtroopers who blow themselves up. There's that scene where he's shot like 1,000,000 times, but his armor just deflects every single shot, and so it's like no stakes in the action ever. It's the I don't even want to like. It was such a joke that season.
It was that episode, right, where his spaceship gets dismantled by Jawas, and he goes to the Jawas to get all the parts back, and they're like, "Well, if we're going to give them back to you, you have to give this egg to us. Like, how do I get the egg? Well, you have to kill this beast. Kill the beast, get the egg, get the parts, fix the spaceship, be on your way." That's the structure of the storytelling here, and it worked in season 1 to some extent because it was simplistic and it was easy and it was low level stuff. Just a character doing a little adventure.
I mean, context
You know.
is very important as well, in the sense that when the first season comes along, you've just come off the back of a catastrophically unsuccessful sequel trilogy.
Yes.
And people are very, very sick of these people with grand narratives and grand pretensions toward grand narratives who tell massive epoch-defining stories that suck. And just going back to something very, very basic, which is just kind of Clint Eastwood in armor going for a couple of standalone adventures and just seeing a bit more of the galaxy was... I mean, yeah, if you actually want story from a show, it's probably not the show to go for. But if you want to get away from sort of the meta of the sequel trilogy, then I can see why season 1 of The Mandalorian got as popular and as successful as it did. But it's one thing to have sort of an intriguing premise with a cool character design and a nice little MacGuffin in Baby Yoda for your starting point, but then you actually have to go somewhere with it. And if it becomes unexpectedly popular as it did, you do then need to start thinking, well, how am I going to tie this into the galaxy as a whole? Where am I actually telling a story here, and what does the story lead to? And that's where they seem to have had no ideas at all. So that goes well.
They did have ideas, though, and their ideas were Baby Yoda, which for some reason has just become merchandising operation number 1 for Disney. It's the only thing that was successful at The Mandalorian. It's the only thing they clearly made money off. That's why most of this episode was told from his perspective. Like, for absolutely no... This is a guy who can't even talk. And yet, it focused on him every 3 seconds. It's like, oh, let's get his perspective on this. Oh, now he's hugging something. Let's get his perspective on this. There are entire scenes like that mechanic scene, which I think were only created specifically to show Baby Yoda doing something to make... he's hugging...
No, you know what it
to
is?
buy more toys.
You know what it is? It's like you've just got 2 characters in a room exchanging dialogue necessary to move the plot on. Oh, it's too boring. We need something to like make people go oh, or make them laugh or something. Let's show Baby Yoda using the Force to pick up an M&M, or try and eat Babu Frick, who's trying to repair this IG-11 droid. Like, it's just stuff like that.
Now, this is the Game of Thrones example. Game of Thrones did it, but they set it in a brothel. Whereas this, it's just using Baby Yoda instead of that to appeal to a certain group of people rather than actually having something entertaining going on. They're distracted by something else. The issue with in Season 2, Baby Yoda literally ate somebody's babies in front of her. And they had the character hugging the jar of babies. It's like, this is the only... this is the last group of babies I'm ever going to have. and he's eating them. And at
And
no
the
point
defense
did the
is,
mother
oh,
try
it's
to
cute.
stop him,
It's cute because
punish
he's a
him.
kid.
It's not.
And then,
it's
but then
it's
you get to the
horrific.
book of then you get to the book of Boba Fett, and then Luke is like, well, you, who we've just been told repeatedly is a child who has no cognition whatsoever, you have this profound choice to make about your life future now. Are you going to do away with your sort of foster father and join the Jedi, or are you going to abandon this entire religion and define your life going forward by your sort of shacking up with the Mandalorian? Which is a decision you wouldn't give to a character with the characterization of Grogu as child, because that's just impossible. But the show, even in episode 3, makes this mistake as well. It can't decide how mature an adult it wants Baby Yoda to be. So in the one place, they defend him grabbing the Babu Frick thing, because he's just a kid. But then later on, because they need exposition, Mando talks to him, explains cockpit mechanics and all the rest of that stuff, and then it's like, well, why are he doing this? How old is this child? Is it a child anymore?
50.
I don't know.
It ate eggs.
Baby
He's
Yoda
50
is
years
50.
old. Yeah,
Yeah,
like if you're
Disparu's
50 years old,
reference.
you should have some cognition about the world around you. And thank you, Disparu, because now I've got the horrifying image of a brothel full of Baby Yodas in my head.
Just eating babies. But
Well,
by this
I mean-
point, it already says, like, I read the wiki, because I'm like, how? I'm sure he's really actually quite old by this point. He's not a baby. And when I went to read the wiki, it was like, well, actually, before Mando even met him, I'd rather we just gave him a name at this point, by them calling him just Mando or the Mandalorian. But either
Well,
way,
it's Din Djarin, isn't it?
he's actually been trained by multiple Jedi Masters. Is specifically what it writes. He's been trained by multiple Jedi Masters before Mando even met him. But he can't walk. So what did they train him in? Like, how is it even possible to train
You
him?
can use the Force, buddy. Like,
Yeah, but either he can
sometimes.
use the Force and he can learn things and do things and like move forwards into the future, or he's like a baby
Okay,
that
wait.
can't even walk and needs
You
perfect
say-
protection at all times.
And also,
this is
didn't
perfect.
Favreau,
You say he
Favreau
can't
came out
walk,
this
right?
week, didn't he? And said that he'd actually spent 2 years training with Luke.
He said
So
that was
all
a misspeak. He
Oh,
came out
was
and
it a
said he
misspeak?
didn't. He meant 2 years out of universe, not in universe. But on the point of you said he can't walk, and you're referencing the episode where he eats the babies. I've just pulled this up, Drinker. If you could share the screen, this fucking part kills
His
me
walking
every time I
speed
see it.
annoys
It's
me.
not just that. Do you remember this part?
I didn't. I didn't. But that is entirely
I don't
different to the
remember
walking
that.
speed he does when he forges it. By the way, the
shocking.
forging of that helmet, which turns it into more bent than flat metal again. There is
literally on
multiple
fucking
scenes in this
steel.
episode where there's even a scene which I cut from my video, but there's a scene where Mando walks backwards and then it goes and walks backwards again in a different camera angle. The editor had no idea which camera he was even using for his edits during this entire episode.
I just wanted to leave that on an endless loop throughout the whole show.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
That is how
fucking
quickly
great.
he can move when he's trying to get away from the mother whose babies he just ate.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he is
50 years
capable of
old.
it.
I mean, to be fair, he does walk like that. It just needs a Zimmer frame, and he would have been perfect.
I think this is an interesting example of. Oh shit!
Oh, I
Why
offended
have we lost
Mauler.
Mauler?
Yeah, I offended him. Like the walking speed of Yoda is
Come
like,
back,
no,
come back, Mauler, come back.
that's a step too far.
Yeah, like I think that's an example of where you clearly could have used some kind of CGI to make that movement more natural. Instead, they have this little radio controlled Grogu that they can just like move across the floor. It's just.
But they
Not
don't
good.
care
I
about
lost it.
realism
So
in any
quickly
other
done.
aspect.
They
Like
could've
that
just cut
whole
that part.
crocodile fight at the start. Like,
Oh yeah.
What was the
okay,
point in that?
you are so tiny. Like, you're about this big compared to a crocodile, which is like this big, and you decide to attach ropes to him. Why?
That
What-
shit.
like,
Every decision.
what is the
they
worst
make
thing
was
that?
stupid
No,
as
no, but seriously, what is
Why
the
would
worst
they
thing that
fight
crocodile
it?
could do? Leave? You want him to leave? He's attacking you. You're like, no, I'm going to try and hold him here.
You just came out of a big cave, right? Which was presumably goes back into the mountainside of Fairways. It's not. The crocodile is too big to fit into that
Can't
cave.
fit, yeah.
Why do you
Yeah.
need to fucking fight it? Just run
Yeah.
away from it.
Well, they send all the children into the caves. Like, no, you too, adults.
Yeah,
Everyone.
this isn't a battle that you need to win.
We
it's
never
just a fucking
retreat.
animal.
No, this is war, Drinker. They gotta get this fucking.
But they
crocodile.
attach himself
any
to them.
given... Oh yeah, the grappling hook thing is just absolutely insane. I mean, obviously knee rockets would be
death
way more
rolls.
effective, but like you can pause any given scene there, and you just see a load of Mandalorians, highly trained, specialized fighter Mandalorians, standing about 2 foot away from a giant crocodile with their ranged weapons, shooting at it. Just fly off,
That does
run
nothing.
away,
It
stand
just-
back,
yeah.
just do something.
No, they need
You know
the
what pisses me
commands
off
to
as well when
fly.
you've got like an obvious CGI fight scene like this where people, like dozens of people are blasting away at this thing and it causes no visible damage to it anywhere. It's like, what's the point in this? You might as well just have a health bar above it, like,
That's the
you know,
thing, man.
just slowly
The-
ticking down.
You have all this effort in the entire action scene, and they don't even beat it. It's Mando that saves them with his spaceship. Like, they suck.
The
What a
worst part
horrible
of the,
representation for Mandalorians.
the worst part of the entire scene for me is when you've got like the head honcho, the person that's just turned flat armor into curved armor back to flat armor again, and she picks up 2 axes and she runs at it. And I was fully expecting like a Legolas scene where she goes up, starts caving in
Yeah.
its skull or something. I was like, this is going to be really impressive. No, she runs past it, which has a cut with water going over the front, so you don't realize
She
she's running across
slides underneath it. She does
Yeah.
a slide tackle.
Well, exactly. The volume runs out, right? So you've got to wave water over the screen so she can run past the same piece of volume again, and then picks up a guy from the water. I'm like, is this meant to be impressive? You've just picked up a guy from what? Couldn't he have stood on his own? He's a Mandalorian. Like, what on earth are you doing?
Also,
Well, if she
speaking
was
of-
just going to save someone, why the hell did she take her hammer? What was the point? What
2
did she
hammers.
need?
It was like,
She has to put. Remember, she's got one in each hand. Then she has to put them into one hand so that she has the other hand free to pick up the guy. It's like, why did you take them in the
She
first place?
loves her forge hammers and she doesn't want to let them go more.
She's got such a cartoony run when she heads toward him too. I'm
Oh,
just looking at her
she-
now.
Well, you can tell she's
Fully
not
uses-
actually running through water. Like, it feels like it's so animated.
It's the Tom Cruise run she uses with like a full axis.
Yeah, you know
Goes
what?
straight forward.
Well, I'll see if I can
and
get
they put explosives on top of the put it in his mouth. It's like his mouth is open all the time. Just lob grenades. Do something.
yeah,
Like,
they never
these are
played Knights
game
of the Old
mechanics that
Republic,
people
apparently.
use.
I love the fact as well that it doesn't look like an alien or anything. It's literally just a fucking massive crocodile.
Well, if you compare it to
that's all it is.
the concept design
Even
at the
death.
end, which the concept art at the end of these episodes is usually the best bit of any of these episodes, but if you compare the creature design from the concept art at the end to the one we actually got, the concept version actually looks much better. I mean, it is a little bit kind of like a demon turtle as opposed to just crocodile but big. But I don't really know why they ditched that, given that it would have been better. I've still been trying to figure out how they can start a scene with a child standing in water up to his knees, and the 80-foot tall crocodile is fully submerged until it reaches child standing up to his knees in water. Like, how big is the drop off in the water depth that this huge thing can exist completely submerged right behind a child who's not?
Don't go to the deep end.
It's probably the same time to not like the moment he's next to her and she grabs him and throws him. He's immediately falling, but this crocodile comes up, roars into the air. You cut back to the kid's still falling over 4 seconds later. That guy will have run about 20 meters, still just falling. I don't know if anyone's ever seen the clip of the drunk guy, which is just staggering to the end. Because someone's pushed him, he can't regain balance, but falls about 30 meters over from where he pushed. That's the only clip I had in mind during the entire thing.
That was probably me.
Yeah, you may have been.
Imagine being
yeah.
Mando though, arriving at this planet and being like, "Oh, they're fighting a giant crocodile, huh?" I guess I'll help.
This is the question. It's like, okay, the opening scene of a season should set up something, right? Some event that has some significance to the rest of the season. That crocodile, that all those people there, apart from the Hammer Lady, none of that will have any bearing on anything that happens from this point going forward. It was just, let's have a cheap action scene that's unexpected, gives us a little bit of,
You'll fight the crocodile's
explosions.
brother at the end. It'll be very relevant. Revenge
Well,
brother.
who knows?
Well, the problem is that it can't. Well, it struggled to set anything up because its setup took place in a different series. So the natural beginning of this arc is, of course, the Mando episodes in the Book of Boba Fett. All he's doing in going to this planet to fight the crocodile to meet the armorer is to remind people, or to tell them, if they had any sense and didn't watch Boba Fett, what the premise of that was, which is that he's been excommunicated for taking his helmet off. But we already know that because we did suffer through the Book of Boba Fett. The show just
yeah, I
had to
was on,
redo that.
I was on Gary's stream yesterday, and we were all laughing at the fact that, yes, as people who've seen Book of Boba Fett, why did we see this scene again? This scene is in Book of Boba Fett. Not the same scene, but it's a repeated scene. But even a lot of the dialogue feels very fucking similar. And it's like, wow, you didn't even care, did you? And I saw someone in chat, so it's worth us mentioning this. Yes, it is strange that he gets rid of Grogu at the end of season 2. And yet it's back with Grogu at the beginning of season 3. What's going on? It's like, well, there was a fucking DLC you need to go and check out that basically reset the whole Mandalorian.
The episode begins with flashbacks, but the flashbacks don't cover events that people don't actually have a chance of having known. So they just goes back to the IG droid because that's the mission, the side quest in this episode. If you're going to begin an episode with your little recap, might it have been an idea to recap important stuff that happened in the Book of Boba Fett rather than, hey, this side character, remember him? Well, he's back now somehow.
I also don't understand. I don't understand the fucking side quest aspect of this as well, where it's like, okay, we need IG-11.
Oh, it's so stupid.
Wait, let me just start this right. It would be like if I went to Trafalgar Square or something in London, and there was a statue of Winston Churchill, but it was made partially from his actual fucking corpse. Like that's
no, that was even worse.
IG-11 is just like up there, and it's like bits of him that they recovered from apparently like detonating a fucking thermonuclear reactor while you're in a giant like pool of lava. There's still like all your vital systems will survive. It's
they never tried to fix him.
Returned.
But yeah, like he's Mando's decision is like, I need IG-11. Nobody else in the galaxy will do for this quest. This fucking droid is the only thing that can help me out here.
Who do you think I could
Not
trust?
Cara Dune, not Grief Karga, nobody. Just fucking him. Not even Boba Fett can help me.
Yeah, wouldn't the obvious choice have been Boba Fett? Why is he like...
Well, it would have been Cara Dune, really. I would have taken her with me, but it's like,
I love
she's
the
been,
way that they dispense with her in the
she's been conveniently written out.
She gets one sentence.
Yeah.
Oh, but
She's in the special forces now.
Well, as you said, she's lucky she didn't get the whole, like, she accidentally shot herself in the face. Oh, well.
She died on the way back to her home planet. Oh, what can you do?
I was genuinely impressed that they didn't humiliate her, because that's what I was expecting. I
Do you
think
think there's an element of,
fall
like,
over a memory.
do you think there's an element of leaving the door open?
No.
No, I don't.
I think they didn't want to poke the bear that they knew would be coming for them if they humiliated her.
Do it cleanly, because they could easily have said, like, turns out she was Empire affiliated and we killed her. Like, oh god, or something. But yeah,
I guarantee in some kind of meeting there was a fight over what they were going to do to her, and there were definitely going to be people that were like, no, we need to humiliate her. We need this. We were like, no, let's just put down the past, move past it, leave it alone, go on into the future, and make it the next series.
Thanks for watching this video. If you're interested in supporting my channel but you don't want to bother with Patreon or any of that other stuff, then I might suggest taking a look at my latest novel, Dark Harvest, on Amazon. It's got hundreds of 5-star reviews, I'm reliably informed that it's pretty good, and well, it really helps to support creators who just want to tell good stories without the message. I'll put the link in the description if you want to take a look. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.